So I was supposed to be at the office today, but clearly I am not. Instead of forcing it and freaking out because not everything is perfect, I am adapting to the circumstance. And the circumstance today is a snow squall that has been closing roads left, right, and center. But there's actually an opportunity here if you look close enough. Still need to do that. Did that. Create real commercial. Sync RR is sick. Build Betty. Kellen. Follow-ups. Okay, and done. Hello. So in a world where people feel Zoom fatigue, they're constantly stuck on their devices and they don't get anything done, this is a great example of how if you are focused, virtual work can actually help you accomplish things at a very high level. But like I said, it has to start with focus. So yesterday I had my day planned to a T. Something I'm working on personally is the faith component in my life. So I had that scheduled first thing in the morning to get into my prayer, journaling, and gratitude. Then I tackled my fitness to make sure I'm in peak physical and mental condition to execute. Then I wanted to make sure to take care of my family time and incorporated some fun time to play with my daughter and connect with my wife. So then I made sure to incorporate some things that I enjoy into my schedule and stack those with those habits so that I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. But I guess what we're talking about here is the work side of things. So I clearly mapped out what I'm trying to accomplish this week, and it is December 30th, 2025. Going into 2026, a lot of people that I'm seeing on social media are relaxing on vacation. They're in Mexico, Florida, all over the place, which more power to them. If they can do that, have at it. But in the real estate market right now, we are busier than we have ever been. So I'm looking at all of my current listings that need a hard reset for Q1 2026. I'm looking at all of the listings that I'm going to be launching come springtime, and I'm consulting with my clients around when's the best time to launch them. We are working on primefarms.ca, working on prime investments and prime commercial. And a very important activation is our team standards document and our trading cadence for 2026. So I have been working with the leadership team to refine all of those so that when we come back in person, the team is not going to know what hit them, and all the work that I did leading up to that, virtual or in person, is going to create a lot of freedom for them in the year to come. So let's see here, my calendar. Take different photos for thumbnails. I'll do that on Friday. Establish a listing price for 17. So how do you stay focused when working from home? Taking a little break after lunch, thinking about all the dynamics of family life, right? Especially over the holidays when the little ones and distractions are all around. As I think about it, I would say 90% of it comes down to what you're focusing on at any given moment. And I'm worse than anybody else. I can get distracted with all the bright, shiny objects, and I can find myself doing 7 things at the same time. But the systems that I've created to run my life and business are what really keep me in check. So sharing a couple of my systems. For me personally, the paper notebook is absolutely key. A lot of times throughout the day, I'm capturing thoughts and notes that I want to sort and organize for later. Then I use what I call a digital brain. So I use a tool called Asana, and that helps me categorize and organize things in my life based on, are they personal? Are they business? Are they team focused, client focused? Because I wear a few different hats. Third would be my calendar. So I take all of the crazy things in my head on paper and in my digital brain, and then I just put them in my calendar. And I'll be honest with you, most people can't do more than 6 critical things in a daytime. So I always make sure my calendar is very balanced. And going back to what's important in my life, I can tell you, and crossing things off always feels good. So I can tell you, I already did my miracle morning this morning. I did a workout, did a mind sweep and a brain dump, delegated to my leadership team. Hey, here's the important projects we're working on, gave them clarity on some of our listing relaunches. I also took a look at my client files and where do I need to move the needle for them? Like, what are some critical follow-ups I need to do? But instead of sending out emails and calling people at 7 in the morning or 5 in the morning, I set those for later on in the day in my calendar. Then I always take time to create, right? We do a ton of content online. This is more of my personal channel, but if you go to my Instagram or you go to the Prime channel, you'll see we're constantly creating content around real estate. You know, people who are buying, selling, investing across Southwestern Ontario or anywhere on the planet. And we specialize in residential, commercial, investment, and agriculture. So a lot of times that takes effort to put out high quality content for those people. So today I'm creating a reel around commercial real estate. So how to approach buying or selling commercial real estate in today's marketplace. I'll shoot a short form content and then I'll turn that into a long form video. Then I'm always doing something that I call building time. So I'm working on the brokerage. So then I do something called building time, and this is business specific. This morning I worked on my Prime Agent Playbook to simplify what's expected of my team so that my clients and every single person that enters our ecosystem is getting my systems and standards. That's why they hire Prime. Anybody that you don't see working here anymore typically didn't fall into that category and wasn't willing to execute to our standards. That's not a negative thing, that just is. And we definitely want to protect our standards. So we're upgrading that massively. So team members of mine, that brought up 2 topics of conversation. I'm going to discuss that with the owner of the brokerage and a potential agent that wants to join our brokerage. I'm going to have a discussion with my wife about that. We always want to make sure we are hiring based on our ability to deliver on the promises we make. And sometimes we're not in the right season of life to hire certain people. Other times we have gaps that need coverage and the right partners come along. But instead of rushing into those relationships like I used to do, I really want to make sure that we have a clear roadmap for partnerships moving forward. And my wife is one of the smartest people on the planet, so I'm going to work on that with her. Really, really important. What I haven't checked off yet is my follow-up block. That's not prospecting time. Getting into real estate jargon, prospecting time is getting into your CRM, touching new leads, nurturing warm and hot prospects. That I already do typically first thing in the morning, 8:30 to about 9:30. My follow-up time is I got a client looking for a huge estate property in North London, so I got to follow up with him. We're also selling a big commercial property for him, so I have to work on what are the dynamics of the tenant that's in there and where's that whole file going. Then I have a block of time that's called community. So, I'm part of so many different communities. Sell It Like Sirhant, the BAM Network, the McGillivray Network, the Extreme Ownership Network, Buzz, REM. I'm an op-ed writer for both of them. So I'm going to jump into those communities and try and engage and offer value. But I time block it so I don't spend all of my time in Facebook scrolling and just being distracted, right? It is a time block in my calendar that I'll probably get to around 3 or 4. And then I also have time for fun and connecting with my family in my calendar because they're very important to me. And I do find that what you put in your calendar, you tend to focus on, and what you focus on, you improve at. Am I perfect? Far from it. I mess up in all aspects of my life, but this is my process of really trying to play the long game and build what I like to call the prime life. So I say all that to say, now I actually need to do 2 things that weren't on my list that popped up. One is touch base with 2 of my agents to get them to get me updates on information that I need on those listings. Can't be super detailed about it because some stuff is very private. And I need to send an email to a designer in Tennessee. Yes, we're global, so I gotta get focused and I gotta work. So done lunch, done the critical tasks I needed to do. I still have to do my follow-ups, but there's nothing saying that I can't go enjoy this winter wonderland while I do that. I know the roads are shut for a lot of longer term travel, but one thing I don't think people do enough of is getting out and enjoying the spaces around them, especially in this type of weather. Don't get me wrong, love the beaches, love seeing people enjoying nice weather, but I absolutely love winter, and I'm Canadian, so if you dress for it, it can be far more enjoyable than you think.
You know, being involved in this awful crime. What was the crime? All right, so it doesn't make sense without context. So here's what happened. Ike Perlmutter is this other couple who also sell real estate. The wife sells real estate. They approached the tennis pro and were like, we should team up on real estate. And she's like, no.
Everything in life is a combination. Everything in life is a combination of art and math. I'd say definitely when it comes to business, right? Generating leads, converting sales, understanding how to operate a business. You definitely need to understand the math there. But I'd say you also need to understand how to live in the art of business, and that there's value in breaking the patterns. So like this morning was a great example. Everything was ironed out perfectly for today. Everywhere I was going to be, all the things that I was going to do. But when it blew up in my face, that didn't shatter the rest of my day. It actually allowed me to be happy about the change in my pattern. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm going to change the things that have to get done, the responsibilities I have for my family, my team, my clients. All of those things are going to happen, but being able to jump out and enjoy the snow and the crazy weather becomes part of my life rather than something that throws it for a complete loop, if that makes sense. Also, one of my favorite things about my job is it brings me to the craziest places. This is Grand Bend, Ontario. That is an ice shelf. Those are literally behind me. And yes, it is very cold and very windy. In the summer, these are some of the most glorious blue flag beaches you could possibly imagine. I've sold some of the most incredible real estate here. And there's some incredible communities, businesses, and people that live here. So getting out of my office and getting into this space is absolutely inspiring, especially since I have to do my follow-up calls anyways. Why wouldn't I go out and explore the places that I live, work, and sell in at the same time as I'm doing the work? But you still have to get the work done. You can't just distract. So that is all she wrote. I'm going to offload some of the footage, get this video edited, and then prep for New Year's Eve tomorrow, which is going to be another really big work day. But if you like some of the behind the scenes, you want to see what it takes to build a business and balance in your life, hit subscribe and you'll be seeing more of these videos coming soon.